We have some breaking news tonight out of Wilmington.
Let's go up to Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal over that tunnel collapse that Mike Rogers was telling us just a short time ago. Des?
Yeah, Juan and Susie, I've never heard of anything like this. This business that is right off of the 110, 1700 block of Figueroa Street here. So this is a massive shaft right here. Now, we have to show you this distance from a ways because the fire department's actually asked us to back off a mile because it's such a delicate operation. Obviously, they want to make sure that they don't have any trouble communicating on their radios there because, of course, we are pretty loud up here in the helicopter. So you see they're lowering what looks like maybe an elevator or something, or maybe a claw down into the shaft. I did get a look from over the top of what it looked like. I'm not sure if we have that video ready for you yet, but I'm sure we'll have it for you at least a little later. So urban search and rescue crews are going to be here, and you heard 28 people trapped in this tunnel. We're still trying to figure out what kind of business this is. When I widen out, it kind of looks like one of those like concrete processing facilities right here, but now we're hearing that they may be in the business of actually digging tunnels, and this is a really wide and very deep shaft. As I looked inside, it looked like it was at least 50 to 100 feet deep. So, you know, those people's condition right now, completely unknown, extremely bizarre, and a very harrowing situation for everyone involved in this. So we'll see how this progresses right now, but a unique and awful situation here right off of the 110 freeway with, we're hearing, 28 people that are trapped. As I double in, you can see crews are going to get on this elevator and go down the shaft, and you know how deep it goes and how far underneath those people are trapped is anyone's guess at this point, Juan and Susie.
Well, Mike Rogers is on the desk for an update with us. And Mike, you know, we're talking about people, 28 people trapped inside here. And the LA City FD has their urban search and rescue team on hand. But the communication has been the concern.
Right. And, you know, that number 28, it's possible that will change because they don't know. I mean, last time LAFD, we heard on the radio, they had asked a representative. They weren't sure how many. And then that 28 number came out. So we'll see if that number holds. But that was the initial number. But yes, Susie, to your point, when the collapse happened, it cut all the fiber and Wi-Fi to inside of that tunnel. So at last check, they were not able to communicate with the people inside. There is a whole host of issues here because you talk about not having any fresh air down there. It's unclear if the ventilation systems are still functioning down there dealing with that. You don't know if anybody was injured in the collapse itself, which is very concerning, and just how deep underground this is. To your point about urban search and rescue teams, the Los Angeles Fire Department has 4 urban search and rescue teams. All 4 of them have been assigned to this incident. I don't remember a time when all 4 urban search and rescues were rolled to what they call a confined space rescue or a technical rescue, which is what this is at this point. So certainly an incident. They have talked about the length that this incident is going to go, bringing in command posts, setting up a whole long-term operation at this location.
And look at this, Mike. They're already setting up a triage area. I saw a yellow tarp, a red tarp. So they may be even expecting injuries, right, at this point.
That's what they're setting up for, what's called an MCI, a multi-casualty incident. Doesn't necessarily mean that anybody's dead. They use the word casualty, but it doesn't mean anyone's dead. But when they get them out, they'll want to triage them that way based on injuries.
All right, Mike, we're going to continue following this and have the very latest for you at the top of SkyCal News at 9 o'clock.
All right, we go back now to our breaking news out of Wilmington, where there's been a tunnel collapse. Possibly 28 people trapped is what we're hearing right now.
Mike Rogers monitoring it on the desk. We have Desmond Shaw live up in SkyCal. Let's go up to Des first. Desmond?
Yeah, Juan and Susie, I mean, it's kind of hard to even know where to begin with this. Is this, you know, the type of thing that that LA City Fire has trained? I mean, it's a very unique situation. I've never covered a tunnel collapse like this. I have no idea that a tunnel this big has even being, you know, constructed in Los Angeles, certainly not down in this area. It's not related to a subway or anything to our knowledge. I think Mike Rogers is going to tell us about that in just a second. But as you mentioned before, setting up the triage unit, these people may be trapped a very long ways away. So, you know, even with all 4 urban search and rescue crews here, I don't even know how they're going to begin to process this and rescue these people that are trapped inside. This is an extremely serious situation. Mike, Susie, and Juan.
Yeah, Mike Rogers on the desk now. And Mike, you were talking about how there is no communication with these people right now. and also how far away they are.
Yeah,
quite a distance, Mike.
Yeah, so we're getting some information from the fire department here. First of all, we don't know how far down the tunnel is, right? We don't know how deep into the ground it goes. We don't know what the total diameter of it is. But LA City Fire is saying they could be trapped anywhere from here at this location where you see the opening to 6 miles to the south of here. They've been drilling apparently this tunnel for at least 6 miles, and the fire department says they're not confident where the collapse happened in that 6 miles. So if the collapse happened towards the end of that 6 miles, so just listening to some radio traffic. It sounds like they are starting to have contact with the people in there. We don't know. We don't know how that contact is being made, but we don't know how far, if that 6 miles that they actually were from this response location. LA City Fire certainly is trying to figure all of that out at this point. But right now they are talking about potentially starting to be able to get some of these people out of the tunnel. They said they just did a head count. They say they have everyone. So right now, it sounds like they're transitioning into a point where they're going to try to be bringing people out. Now, why 8 people at a time? Likely because these are done by elevators or some other mechanical lift that will pull people out of this tunnel, which could be that red apparatus we're seeing there. There's also a crane that you see kind of moving around that's got that basket on it. You see another person there in the orange on the yellow right there where they look like they're going up and down. So we'll see. And it looks like, Des, does that have people in it?
We will find out here momentarily. I believe it does here. So that would be really amazing if they're able to begin to start to rescue these people that quickly. And I mean, how far apart are they all trapped? Were they all trapped together in one area or kind of in multiple areas? You see they have multiple cages that are going down right now, but we're seeing some people coming out. If these are the workers here in orange vests, and if this is them, they look like they're okay, which is
and it looks like
incredible.
It is, Des. Look, Wilmington firefighters start to go over there to talk to them. So that does look like the first group of people that were potentially trapped in this tunnel finally beginning to come out of the tunnel in that yellow, kind of basket there. We'll see. I would assume they'll pick that basket up and drop it back in the tunnel there to try to go back and get more people. As we've heard, they say about 8 people at a time, and as you can see, they're walking over and they're going to be checked out by the fire department. LAFD there on scene with more than 100 firefighters. All 4 of the LAFD's urban search and rescue teams are on scene as well to try to deal with this. This is considered a technical rescue or a confined space rescue. Now, it's unclear. We haven't heard exactly how these workers were potentially able to free themselves from being trapped, if they were able to dig their way out, if they have some sort of emergency type of tools that are stationed throughout the tunnel that help them do that if need be. It does look like you have firefighters kind of loading up into that secondary lift here, kind of at the bottom of the tunnel on Desmond's screen. So we'll see if they're going to go down and get people as well. But certainly looks like the first group of people that are beginning to come out of the tunnel via that lift. And we have heard that they are starting to be able to do that and will bring people up 8 at a time to get all of this done.
Yeah, it looks very good from here, Mike, that's for sure. Do we have any information on why they were digging this tunnel or who's digging this tunnel?
So, no, we don't. We pulled an old inspection report from OSHA that lists this same address, and it comes back to a company called Dragados USA, which we've seen some of the markings on the various parts of the facility here. Dragados is involved in a lot of public transportation projects. They've done the People Mover at LAX. They've been involved in that. They've also done underground large sewage tunnels. So potentially that is what they're doing. It's unclear exactly what the project was or how long it's been going on.
All right, so like involved with the city in some way.
In some, yeah, they're a private company, private contractor, but it does look like they do a lot of work with companies. And this is a worldwide company. They've got offices and projects in Canada, all over the United States.
All right, I asked that question when you were talking about maybe transportation of some kind that we usually have to do maybe with a government, or at least even getting the okay to do something like this.
Yeah, and it does look like, I think there's another group of people coming out of that cage up there to the right, and remarkably kind of unfazed by all of this, which is great. It doesn't look like anyone's hurt. They're kind of coming up from this tunnel situation. They're going to get checked out by the fire department, but it's good to see that they're finally coming out here.
Yeah, this is unbelievable to see. I mean, when we first heard the news, it could have been so catastrophic. So to see bucket loads of people coming up like this, and it looks like they have a pretty well-organized system to bring them back up and communicate with them. And it was occurring to me when you said that Urban Search and Rescue was on this, that we saw today, we covered some of the dogs and some of the Urban Search and Rescue teams going to Texas to help out with the horrible flooding situation there. So we are, of course, watching this. Okay, breaking news here at 9 on SkyCal. A tunnel rescue underway in Wilmington, where as many as 15 workers could be trapped.
And Desmond Shaw is live in SkyCal. And of course, this is in the South Bay area, Desmond. So it's interesting. We saw quite a few people walking out of there. Do we happen to know that there are still people trapped underneath? Can we confirm that?
From what we're hearing, it was as many as 28 people, and they were going to bring them up 8 at a time. So it's going to take 2 more cage loads, if that is the case, to get these people up. We've seen 2 cages come up, and I believe there were 8 in each of them, and everyone walked out on their own accord. No one was limping. No one seemed panicked. It was everyone. It almost kind of seemed like a matter-of-fact thing, seeing all of these workers here. You see them interspersed with the fire department right here. So, hopefully it's still a very serious thing, but not as catastrophic perhaps as we had first heard. And hopefully that all 28 people will come out the way that those first 16 did. I mean, you're talking about a tunnel collapse that so many people were in, and wonder if any of that debris fell on people, or if they were, all together or spread out in that tunnel. And at first we had heard that that tunnel is 6 miles long, and we're worried that they could have been trapped at the other end of it. And then how would LA City Fire even begin to rescue people in a situation like this? I mean, obviously, incredibly trained, but this is a pretty unique type of industrial disaster that we're talking about. I was not even aware that this massive tunnel was being dug here. As you see another one of these cages right here coming up empty, probably getting ready to go down that massive shaft right here. It's very deep. We got one flyover before LA City Fire asked us to move about a mile away, and I could see it was very deep indeed. It looked to be at least 100 feet. And then again, we're talking about it being as much as 6 miles long. So really, really crazy stuff here, but very relieved to see the first 2 cages full of these people coming out. So I mean, we'll see if I'm sure they're going to be evaluating everything, but we saw LA City Fire getting triage set up, expecting potentially the worst, and perhaps that will not be the case. We'll see how many people come up in those other 2 cage loads, and if they're going to be okay. Pat Rudebe, Mike?
You're right about that, Desmond. It's interesting to me. I asked the question because Desmond said we don't know who's building this tunnel. Go ahead.
Well, now we do. I just was able to find it on Dragados' website, and I want to ask Mike and our controlman if we can take it. So this is being called the Los Angeles Affluent Outfall Tunnel. LA County Sanitation District is the client here, and what they are doing is they are building a 7-mile tunnel to the Pacific Ocean for sewage. And this is, we're getting like a look here on the bottom left. That's what the tunnel, the inside of the tunnel essentially looks like. And so you can see there's got some ventilation systems in there, wiring on the sides. We had heard that fiber and Wi-Fi went out during the collapse, which was making it hard for them to communicate with the people inside of the tunnel. But it gives you kind of an idea of the size of the tunnel here. And again, the stats are a 7-mile tunnel, 18 feet in diameter and 450 feet below the ground. So this appears to be that project that we're talking about. They've even got, the picture of it. This is off Figueroa, right off the freeway here, where this is going on. So this is, again, from Dragados' website. They are the ones, Flatiron Dragados is the ones that are doing this project. The client is the Los Angeles County Sanitation District. It was supposed to be completed in 2027. 7-mile project. Sounds like 6 of them are finished at this point.
Okay, so that's the county that they are working with.
Right.
I will say this, guys, the fire department, Urban Search and Rescue, they obviously got there pretty quickly.
Yeah, they did. And Urban Search and Rescue, so LA City Fire has 4 Urban Search and Rescue crews strategically placed all over the city, including up in the valley, and they were all there fast, and they were trying to get representatives from the company to be able to communicate with them to figure out, the number of people, what the situation was, how they're going to communicate with them. And then it sounded like as they were kind of starting to make this plan, the workers were able to get out on their own. So I don't know if there's safety mechanisms throughout the tunnel that would help them if they needed to dig through something, or how they were able to move whatever they needed to move to get through there. But they did, and they were able to come out the main outflow of the tunnel and be rescued by the construction equipment that's there.
When you showed us that perspective there, how deep and how narrow that is, it really paints the picture of what they are dealing with in that tunnel and not being able to communicate. But at least they knew how many people they were looking for. They have that mechanism, that cage that goes down and brings people up, and it was just so good to see them walk out of there seemingly okay.
And the fact that that cage could, that was pretty good. We don't know exactly how deep it had to go, but we have seen circumstances over the years with not necessarily a tunnel, but like a hole where workers have collapsed and they had to use some kind of telescope actually to try to locate them and send down breathing.
Yeah, that happened. We had that young boy that fell into the sewer system, and that's what they had to do that with that. So, yeah, and that's what was the concern, too, was when the collapse happened, did it take out ventilation systems? Did it take out, those other types of things? We're still waiting to get a final head count. We had heard 28 at one point. City Fire is also saying 15. So we're waiting to get that final number of people that were in there to figure out how many people were involved in this.
What agencies do we have involved? You mentioned, of course, Urban Search and Rescue, the fire department.
LAPD,
Sheriffs anyway?
No,
LAPD?
Yeah, LAPD was there to provide some traffic control, but this is mainly being handled by the LA City Fire.
Okay, so we possibly expect some kind of conference maybe?
Yeah.
To give us more information?
And OSHA is going to get involved in this too because this is a workplace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if they work overnight on this project. It was fairly late when this happened, right? When did it happen? Around 8:30?
Yeah, the original call out here, I can tell you really quick, was 7:58.
Okay, so about 8 o'clock. And so it's been about an hour, and they've brought the cage up twice full of workers who seem to walk out and be okay. And of course, they have people there to triage them, to treat them, but much better circumstances than it could have been when we first heard this news breaking.
We always try to gather from body language or how people are moving, and from here it doesn't seem to be a level of expediency where you would think that they really need to, do something else in a hurry to get other people that could be trapped. Hopefully they're not. We're hoping that this is the best scenario.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, even some of the workers, when they were coming out of those cages, just seemed
kind of
like,
walking
I think
normal.
a couple of them had their lunch boxes, and it was just kind of as they were ending their day of work almost, not, not injured in any type of way. Certainly the fire department ran up to them and, wanted to make sure that they were okay. And you saw from the tarps, Desmond was showing us earlier, that green, yellow, red, black tarps. Those are when they have what's called a mass casualty incident. City Fire was certainly expecting this to be a lot worse than it ended up being, which is obviously the good news here, that it didn't end up being as bad as it was. And early on in this, they wanted command posts. They said this was going to be an extended incident, all of those different things. So good to see that they were able to bring them up, and it looks like we've probably got everybody accounted for at this point.
Oh, well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Hey, Desmond, from your vantage point, do you see a lot of movement? Do you see some people leaving or more people coming in the area?
No, yeah, I mean, I just kind of seeing everyone gathering right here and debriefing and seeing, talking with firefighters. It's extremely calm. Okay. Not seeing any more of those cages going down that huge shaft to go get anyone else down there. So, like Mike was saying, hopefully this means everyone is accounted for, or I wonder if it's possible too, if the way this collapsed, people were on one side of the collapse and some on the other side of that, we don't know. But you're right, the way that they're kind of posturing right now is definitely much more relaxed, and would certainly have you believe that everyone is accounted for here. So certainly hoping to hear some good news, confirm that from the fire department. But yeah, no more cages going down, and we'll see what happens here in the next few moments. But hopefully this is, like we said, the best case scenario. I saw on that third cage, 6 people come out. So definitely, they were saying as many as 28, but it seems like it's considerably less than that, maybe closer to 20 that they have rescued at least so far. But again, is that everyone? Is this the end of the rescue operation? The way everyone is looking, it certainly appears to be that way. We just want to get confirmation from the fire department.
You can imagine the family members who could possibly be watching our coverage, certainly wondering, if they have family members or people that they know that work at this facility, wondering, the condition, if they are okay, certainly. And then we also have to, when Mike mentioned OSHA coming in, this is going to be shut down for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Progress is going to be stopped. certainly don't know how much they completed or how much more they had to do, but this totally, even the inspection is going to take a while.
Yeah, and the completion date, according to their website, was 2027 when this was supposed to be completed. But yeah, certainly the fire department may want to do their own investigation. OSHA will have to come in. It's unclear the extent of the damage, how much they'll have to rebuild right after it's all kind of done here. So it's going to be a while before this project gets moving again. It'll certainly create a delay for everything that's going on after this, kind of really wild situation that happened after this tunnel collapse.
Yeah, do we have a view of the cage right now? Is it out of the tunnel, or did it go back into the tunnel? If we just zoom out, we get like a little wider view, and we can see the magnitude of this scene and the magnitude of this project too. It's a massive project. Okay, so the cage is out, and the last time it came up, it brought, what, 6 people out?
Yeah.
So not sending it back in, but of course we're going to keep watching it, hoping this is everyone.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we get more information that we can share.